This is Cyber Sam, and let's teach tech. I'm wrapping up another week, and I was trying to think of a topic for the week to talk about, and the thing that keeps coming up with me is student leadership and teacher aides. And I thought I would share a few things that I do in my program that might be beneficial to you. So the program I currently teach at is a 2-year program, and at the end of the second year of the program, I strongly encourage my students who are going to continue to be in high school to be a teacher aide. I believe in all of my students, and I in general know that any one of them could be really helpful to me in this program. So I will, at the end of the year, typically announce to the class or classes that I really could use some help with teacher aides. And then I will often one-on-one say, hey, are you able to fit this in your schedule? And I think you do a great job, and so on. I make sure I emphasize one-on-one that I really think they could help and do a great job. I'm fortunate enough that every year I do get a handful of students that come in during their free time to help with things I need help with around here. Many hands makes light work, and I sure can't do the best job I can do if I just do it myself. So these students, especially who have some experience, come back and support our program. They end up getting credit for it as well, and they end up digging a bit deeper into some of the technology that they didn't get to last year in the first year of the program. So a few things that are obvious. First of all, the students who are teacher aides and evolving the student leadership in our program, they're able to help with supporting other students. So the labs that the first year students are going through, both the hands-on and the simulated labs and so on, those teacher aides are able to walk in, and I can kind of get a feel for the room of where people are at, or if someone's like, oh, I'm not sure how to do this particular part of it. I can help out, but I often tell my students that I am a bottleneck. I do the old ask 3, then ask me. I say everyone in this class is smart. First thing to do is raise their hand and ask for my help. Then I'm going to end up slowing the class down, and my job is to keep, let's say, roughly 80% of the students moving in the same direction and continuing to learn and grow. And if I'm running around with my head cut off answering one question after another, then that really slows production, if you will, and I become a bottleneck. So I teach my students really early in the year that please ask other people. I really try to help them build a lot of comfort with talking to other people in the class. I try to build icebreakers that get conversations going with their partners. I do sit my students strategically in desks of 2 with an aisle in between, so that I can walk in between, but also they're partnered up and they don't feel isolated and alone with the work they're doing, because most of the work we're doing is practice before the assessment. So I want to build this partnership and community and family in our classroom, but I am not the holder of all the information, of course. So I really rely on students collaborating, asking for help from each other, helping each other out, and those teacher aides and the student leadership involved there allows them to get the help from someone who's gone through the work before, and not necessarily just me, and then we can keep everyone basically progressing quicker because of that. I also have my teacher aides historically help me with labs. So I find that the more I enhance the program with hands-on labs and experiences that are a part of the curriculum, but I also have found out from my experiences that are really going to give them the information they need, the foundational important information they need in this program. The more I create those, the better experience my students have, and the more prepared, of course, they are for industry. So my teacher aides are really, really helpful with that. So I can, for instance, be running class and having students doing certain projects and do regular teaching stuff during the class, and then I can have side projects for my teacher aides to help with. This could be, refining a lab that I've created, and I've got a document that goes step by step, and I might have them check my work and make sure that there's supportive things like screenshots, or that the wording is clear enough that students can be able to go through the work themselves and not need too much hand holding. I can sometimes ask the teacher aide, for instance, we have this wireless access point. I'm not sure what the interface is for this. Will you connect to this device and create a lab and maybe put some screenshots based on this interface, and tie that into setting up basic configurations on a wireless access point, and setting up certain protocols or changing administrator, this and that. And they can do that. They don't need me. I don't need to be the one to create that. And that gets done so much faster because there's only so many hours in the day for me to do it. I'm now this year going to be testing out Azure Labs with my classes, so I'm definitely going to take advantage of having my teacher aides and student leaders do the labs first, test everything out, make sure everything works before I pass it out to a whole class. I'm trying to avoid and be proactive and avoid major stumbling blocks before they happen with this student leadership helping out. If you don't have teacher aides, you can of course do this with some of the students you've identified as being advanced and just kind of knowing what they're doing, and of course it'd be a great and often very motivating when you pull out students and say, you know what, Sally, I'm really noticing that you are really doing a great job in connecting and understanding what we're doing. Do you mind helping me out with this side project? I really could use help with this or that. Almost every single time I've done that in the past, students light up and they're excited because they feel like they're able to help the class out. They get the inside scoop of things, and I don't know if I've ever had a bad experience doing that. Most students are really willing to help out and share what they know and contribute in that way to the greater good of the class and the program. Another thing I do that is more administrative is I will have students help me, build out my course in, let's say, a platform like Canvas. I will have them go check links. I'll log into my account, and or you can actually change settings on their account, but whatever, I can have them log into my account and say, hey, I need this moved around and this moved around, and I need these links updated, and this should go to this resource, and whatever. Some of those things can be incredibly tedious and frustrating, and I feel almost a waste of your time as an instructor. So teacher aides and student leadership can help take that administrative burden off of you. This can also include your grading system. We use Infinite Campus, so setting up the grade book and adding assignments and due dates and things like that, again, can be very tedious, and having students help with that can just take a big load off of your shoulders, especially at the beginning of the year when you just have so much on your plate. Highly recommend you outsource that busy work to students who are volunteering or just willing to help out, and they enjoy that. If you're a higher ed teacher, you likely have the opportunity to have teacher aides actually do grading for you. So take advantage of that, of course, making sure it's crystal clear how the grading works and so on. Outsourcing grading can be a big help, of course, with your time and focusing your energy on creating good lessons, creating great assessments, great opportunities, great labs, great extra curricular enrichment activities for your program. Another administrative task that I'm taking on this year that I've not done a good job of is my inventory. I've got piles of devices that have been donated to my program and also just given before I taught here. And so I'm having my students in leadership and teacher aides scan bar codes and serial numbers and inventory. I'm going to use a spreadsheet just for simplicity, but documenting all of that and having some checks and balances of what's actually in my program I need help with. That's not something that's a strength of mine, of keeping track of all that. I think this is the year I'm finally going to do that, and I want to make sure I'm being accountable and keeping track of all the assets that are involved in my program. Another great opportunity for students in my particular program, but in a lot of technology programs, is to help support with technology problems. So I happen to be building tech support in the building I teach, and I'm able to outsource that to my students, teacher aides, and even just regular students. So if I get a phone call and a teacher's like, hey, I can't get this working, or I'm having problems with this, I tell my students early on in the year. I start with my teacher aides and my experienced teachers, or students, but I quickly try to transition some of my first year students to being helpers for building tech support. So I will say, okay, Sally, Mr. Johnson has a problem with his projector. Will you head out to room 1405 and go help that teacher? And students, again, light up. They really want to help, and they really appreciate the opportunity to practice the skills they've learned in the program in the real world. I prep those students, and I have some labs, one of them being on basic troubleshooting and customer service skills, where we talk about all the steps of greetings and listening and showing empathy and all these things. I might share in a different video, but all that sets them up so that they have success and feel comfortable with walking into a teacher's classroom they've never met and giving that teacher or whoever they're helping the best experience in solving their problems. So how do you use teacher aides and student leadership in your programs? I'd love for you to share that in the comments. This is Cyber Sam with Let's Teach Tech. We'll see you next time.